Hi, everybody. Welcome to our INICIVOX Mentor SkillShare virtual interview edition. I am so glad you are here. Please use the chat today. I want to first know who's in the room. So as you're kind of getting settled and getting in here, please give us a shout out in the chat. I'd love to know where you're zooming in from today. Are you zooming in from what city? Or maybe you're zooming in from school. Tell us what college. Let us know what's going on. I'm Amy Summers, and I'm founder and president of INICIVOX and Pitch Publicity. I'll also be moderating our panel today. So let's get going because I want to introduce our mentor panelists and orient everyone to our session today. Oh, good. I see it. Howard University in the house. All right, Penn State. Oh my gosh, we are getting taken over by Penn State today. Oh, this is exciting. Please keep telling me where you're zooming in from, what school. You all told us in a survey that you wanted more PR pros. You're going to love this session. Get ready. Okay, here we go. At INICIVOX, our goal is to equalize mentorship through virtual means, simplifying the process of connecting with mentors. We remove barriers and create more access, delivering mentorship to accelerate your career development, regardless of your current stage. Our mentorship format is a win-win, providing you valuable insights for immediate career growth and enabling mentors to reach a broader audience, unlike the less accessible one-on-one, let's grab coffee approach of the past. Who does that anymore, right? So this session will be brief. These people that we have today are very important. It would be very hard for you to get one-on-one time with them, so I want you to use this time wisely. So let's get right into it. I'm going to give you some instructions, and I'm going to tell you how to ask your questions. So listen very carefully. As I introduce our panelists, go ahead and start using the Q&A box. So open up the Q&A box. It's different from the chat box. You're going to submit your questions there. Don't put them in the chat. Our chat gets really active, and I'm going to lose your questions. So make sure you put it in the Q&A box. And I want you to specify with your question, whether it's for Nairi, Paula, or Larry. That'll help us go quicker. And then we'll be inviting some attendees on camera to ask their questions. But to be considered for this, include with your question that you want to be on camera. So you need to tell me that you want to be on camera with your question. If you do not request this, then I'll ask the question on your behalf. And alternatively, you can also opt to just ask an anonymous question. Maybe you're thinking about leaving your job and want to learn some interview tips and don't want your boss to know about it. You can say anonymous. That's okay. I'll ask for you. Don't worry. I won't mention your name. So to ensure effective interaction with our mentors during this session, this is very important, so pay attention. We encourage you to request camera time when asking questions. When I invite you on stage, Zoom is going to prompt you to confirm your camera access. Simply click confirm, and then you're going to wait for a few seconds without touching anything else on your screen. It's going to feel like you're leaving Zoom, but don't worry, you're just rejoining us on stage. And then once on stage, you're going to turn on your video and your microphone and ask your question. After your question is addressed, you'll be automatically returned to the audience without any need to press any buttons, and Zoom will smoothly transition you back. So please use that chat box to share your thoughts, your reactions to our mentors' feedback. They might even jump in there too and engage with you on a few questions or discussion. But for your questions, got to use that Q&A box. Really important. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, yes, I know. Make sure right now that if you are in your chat, that the drop-down box says everyone. So that way we can maintain a public conversation. So make sure it says everyone on there and everyone will see your comments. Okay, I am super excited. Like I told you, if you are in the communications field, you are going to love this today. Kicking us off today is Nairi Wright. She's Executive Vice President of U.S. Crisis and Risk at Edelman and an award-winning leader in public relations and corporate communications. Nairi is a trusted advisor across industries, including consumer, financial services, healthcare, automotive, and media, and is known for helping leaders communicate clearly and confidently in high pressure moments. With deep experience in media training, presentation development, and strategic counseling, she understands what it takes to show up prepared, authentic, and impactful on screen. Nairi brings a sharp, real world perspective on how to stand out in virtual interviews and deliver strong, memorable impressions when it matters most. Now, I met Nairi virtually, actually, when we were both serving as adjunct professors at the University of Florida in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic crisis year. The moment I met Nairi on screen, she gave an impression that I'll never forget. And then later, our paths crossed again when we both won awards at the PR News Top Women event in 2023. And I got to meet you in person.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you guys, she's even more impressive in person. So I was like all nervous when I met her, and everybody was like crowding around her. And I was like, hi, Nairi. So I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, Nairi.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And oh, guess what? You can connect with Nairi too, because her LinkedIn is in the chat now. So make sure you do that. All right. Next up is Paula Rizzo. And Paula is an Emmy award-winning TV producer, media trainer, and best-selling author of Blissful Thinking. With nearly 2 decades in television in New York City, Paula knows exactly how to own your on-screen presence and show up confident and prepared in any virtual setting. She has produced high-profile segments for both local and national news and spent more than a decade shaping stories as a senior producer at Fox News Channel. Today, she helps CEOs, journalists, and entrepreneurs and authors show up on camera with confidence, authenticity, giving them practical guidance to make every appearance memorable. Paula's career is one that I've been following for a very long time. Since her TV producer days, most of my PR work has been in healthcare, so I was definitely pitching Paula, even if she doesn't remember me. I've been stalking you for a long time, Paula. And I really enjoyed watching her develop her own career to where it is today. She is an amazing expert on presence and purpose when it comes to anything on camera. So I know you will gain a ton of knowledge from her today. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here with you.
All right. So last, but certainly not least, we have Larry Krechik, and he is the Executive Vice President at Burson and U.S. Head of Leadership Development and Communications. An attorney turned communications strategist, Larry has spent 25 years helping executives, rising leaders, and world-class athletes refine their presence and connect with an audience on stage, on camera, or online. Along the way, he has shaped leadership strategies and coached teams on effective messaging, bringing a blend of sharp insight, experience, and a talent for helping people communicate with confidence and authority. Now, Larry and I, we have the Gator connection. Sorry,
Yes,
every panel I have to bring a Gator in here. I didn't think I had one in here last panel, but this one we did. Larry and I met many years ago when I was serving on the University of Florida Alumni Association Board of Directors, and I discovered that he was a business school and law grad from UF, but somehow working in PR professions. So I quickly got him connected to UF's College of Journalism and Communications. I was like, here's gold on a platter. You can thank me later. And they should thank me, Larry, because you are doing so many things for that college now. He has been deeply involved. He's an award-winning adjunct professor. And over the years, I've really enjoyed getting to know Larry and his many talents in communications and media relations, which he will be sharing with you today. Welcome, Larry, and go Gators.
Go Gators. It's great to be here, Amy, and hello, everybody. And it's great to be with Paula and Nairi.
All right, so I hope that introduction is long enough. Oh, yes, look at all these questions we have. I'm super excited. Okay, we have a ton of questions in here. Get ready, because you're about to go on camera with these fine professionals here. But I'm going to ask a warm-up question.
Right.
And I'm going to ask everyone on our panel to give me a really nice, concise elevator pitch response. It's going to go to everybody, but this is our opening question for everyone. Looking for elevator responses. Let's see how they do. All right. So, in a virtual first impression, what's the one thing that instantly signals confidence? Paula, let's start with you.
A smile. I can't tell you how often people will not smile because there's like, I don't know, it's just like that thing in between. If you just smile, things will just instantly be easier.
Larry, in a virtual first impression, what's the one thing that instantly signals confidence?
I could not agree more with Paula. Your body speaks before your mouth does. So and the single most important thing you could do is smile. It will make you relatable, likable, credible, and signal your enthusiasm and confidence for greeting the interview in this setting.
All right, Nairi, I'm curious if you have a different answer for us, but in a virtual first impression, she's already smiling, so she's going to go somewhere else. I can tell already.
Well, no, I mean, listen, the body language is
Right.
is crucial to Larry and Paula's point. So a smile is a given, but I also encourage a very warm and authentic, how are you doing? Like ask your interviewer, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Because many people don't do that. It's a very small gesture when someone says, "Hey, how are you?" You're like, "Good, I'm good," you know. But when you literally actually, "I'm well today. How are you doing? How's your day going?" Just to sort of put them at ease and lets them know that you're being thoughtful and engaged.
All right, great answers. Okay, we are going to get to this Q&A box. Like I said, if you have a question, I want you to add it to the Q&A box. Our first question is going to come from Christina Winkler. She is coming on with us here momentarily as she zooms in, and she's going to show you how it's done. In the meantime, make sure you add your questions to my Q&A box here. And welcome, Christina. Oh, proudly representing Penn State, I see. You have a question for Paula, I think, right?
I do. Hello. Thank you so much for having us and speaking with us today. It's an honor. Like I said, I go to Penn State and I'm just beginning my job search. So, my question for Paula is when interviewing for New York City roles, what elements of a candidate's story tend to resonate most with senior decision makers?
What sort of positions are you looking to go after?
I'm a marketing student and I'm really interested in person and also virtual digital marketing positions.
Okay, that's helpful. I mean, my answer is going to be for anybody who's looking at any role, but in general, it's interesting to know sort of where you're going with this. But, for me, I think curiosity is always the most important piece to know and understand that you as a candidate, yes, you have things to bring to the table, but that you're also very curious and you want to know about the company and you've also done your homework and you've said, "Oh, I found this," or "I saw this campaign that you did," or, just having examples and things like that to show that you've done your homework and to show that you're engaged and this is how I would act in this position is really helpful in New York City or anywhere.
Great. Thank you so much.
Great question, Christina. Thank you. I'm going to send you back. We have another person coming on stage now. And let's see, this is Rennie. I think it's Rennie. And she has a question for. Hi, Rennie. Am I saying your name right or I got it wrong?
Oh, it's actually Renee.
Renee. My best friend was Renee, but it was two E's. So you threw me off.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
little off, but Renee's no
Renee, I
praise.
love
Hi,
Renee.
everyone.
I'm feeling your bestie right now, vibes. All right, so I know you have a question for Nairi, yes?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Renee Mighty. I'm a recent graduate from Howard University. And I wanted to ask Nairi, for candidates coming from non-traditional or early career backgrounds, what's the best way to communicate potential and readiness in a virtual setting?
So I'll say a couple of things. Even though the interview is virtual, um, and there are aesthetics that you can put around you, don't get so hooked up on virtual versus in person,
Mhm.
right? All the right, Larry, like all the aspects of interviewing should apply to both. So let me be clear about that. Um, I think it's important to, and it's interesting because we made a hire recently who um, worked at an agency, but in Hollywood, very entertainment focused, not necessarily in the traditional crisis and risk sense. But what she did was share her experiences that incorporated her crisis and risk experience. So, and I also have an entertainment background, and I know how many crises can happen in that business. So she was able to weave that into her answers, right? So you don't want to your point, get into a mode of doing a laundry list of accomplishments, things of that nature.
Mhm.
But definitely find ways when you are being asked questions because your interviewer should have thoughtful questions. They
Yeah.
at this point they should be very thoughtful questions. And so you should take the time to weave in how these experiences apply not just to the role that you're interviewing for, but to the company
Mhm.
that you're working with.
Okay, yeah, that definitely works. I know for me, I have a lot of interesting experience, like especially right now, I'm teaching English in Thailand. So it's like 12 a.m. right now. So it's like a lot of things that I just do because I want to, and I have the time to do things, like I have the opportunity. So I want to see what I can do to show that my experience is valuable, even though it's not the ideal candidate.
And even something like that speaks to your depth and breadth of experience, right? It's non-traditional, but then I would
Yeah.
tie that back to the role that you are interviewing for. Like, how does that one experience or another experience that is not a traditional PR experience, how does that tie back to the role that you are interviewing? So you should really know what that role is looking for and
Yeah.
understand what that company, how that company works.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Everything
You're
ties
welcome.
back to PR, Renee. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Everything. Thank you. I'm going to send you back. And we have Allison on. I know you have a question for Larry, right?
Yes, I do. Hi, I'm Allie. I'm a current junior at Penn State, and I'm also one of the pitch interns right now, actually, too. So,
Awesome.
my question is for Larry, and what is the key to sounding prepared and not rehearsed during a virtual interview?
Oh, good question. Nice to meet you. Well, preparing well leads to performing well. So we're gonna, I would say a couple of things. First of all, I think most people tend to like get their thoughts down, right? I like to say, let's diverge before you converge. But once you've gotten your thoughts down, you need to distill that down to what are your three main reasons why you're right for the role? What's the single most important thing you want to get across? And for me, that if you know that, don't get caught up in the details, right? No script, none of that. Just carry around and I like to say internalize it. Know it in your gut, not in your head.
Hmm.
So if you can know what your three main reasons are, what's the best story you have to tell, what's the, to the point that Nairi was getting at previously, what's the impact that you could show from your past experience or value that you bring, just having a few key things to say that you know you want to get across. But you got to have a conversation. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's a conversation. And we'll talk about that more, but I'm very big on a Q and O mentality where O stands for opportunity as opposed to a Q and A mentality where you're just volleying back questions. Like really go in with intention to answer the question, but drive the conversation into a territory that you think is beneficial for the candidacy and for the company.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie. I'm going to send you back. We have another person coming on in a second, but I want to get to this anonymous question for Paula. The question is, what is the best way to practice for virtual interviews if you don't have someone to rehearse with?
Okay, well, here's where my list making comes in handy. Make a list of the questions that you think you'll be asked, right? And then you could set yourself up on Zoom or even with your phone and record yourself answering those questions. And so what I would do is sit in the way that you're going to sit, right? It's like a dress rehearsal. Anytime you're going to practice and prepare, you could even be wearing the thing you want to wear, right? So that you feel exactly what you will be projecting in that moment. And put both feet on the floor and record it, be able to answer that question and then look back at it. So that's the hardest part. I do this with a lot of my media training clients who don't want to watch the videos back, but it is helpful because you will be able to see, okay, did I get my answer across in a really succinct way? And give yourself some time in between. Don't watch right away. Do it and then give yourself an hour or two, come back to it and then watch it. See, are there filler words that you're using a lot? Like those sort of things. You want to notice those things about yourself and then just, keep practicing those questions over and over again. You don't want to sound rehearsed, you don't want to memorize, but it is helpful to literally look into the camera and practice again and again. It gets less scary, and you're able to articulate in a better way.
I love that. You can also see if you're smiling or not, right, Paula?
Exactly. Well, and that's the most important thing. Does your message really match your face? And so often it doesn't. So often people come off so serious when they're talking about something that's actually, really exciting or really fun. And so you'll be able to see that very clearly, and you have all the tools that you need right now, right in front of you.
And I'll just make a confession. When we went into pandemic mode in 2020 and everybody wanted to be on Zoom all of a sudden, I was used to talking to clients on conference calls on the phone, that everybody that's old school for just, the phone. But then when we went to Zoom, I realized how intense that I look. In all these years that my mother had been telling me to smile and I don't listen to her, I realized so this, I'm smiling today. You guys, this has taken a lot of practice because Amy Summers usually looks like this. And I'm just going to kick your, All right. So Alyssa, I won't hold you up anymore. Thank you for joining us. I know you have a question for Nairi. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself and ask it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. I am a sophomore at Penn State. And my question is fairly simple, and it actually can be for any one of you. And it is, do follow-up emails still matter? And if so, how am I not making it generic? Like, how am I not just going to send a simple thank you for your time? How do I really stand out?
So and this is a pet peeve of mine, so I'm glad you asked it. They absolutely matter. And I will confess, it may be a generational thing because a number of us.
Go, Nairi, tell them what we had to do.
This is, I mean, I mailed thank you letters back in the day.
Same.
I mailed them, like paid 25 cents at the time for the stamp and like mailed it. So yes, they very much matter. A text is a no-no. And I've gotten those. If you do send an email, make sure it's proofed. Make sure there's no abbreviations, there's no slang. It's a very professional email. I will say and it matters for two reasons. Number one, you want to be remembered, not just because of how you interviewed, but the person you're interviewing with probably has spoken to so many people. They have a day job, especially when you start meeting with the hiring manager. They've got a bunch going on. So just flagging, right, and having it helps them recall. But it also says you took the time. My favorite moment, I received a thank you paperless post. No,
Wow.
I thought that was so special. Like, obviously it's digital, but it was unique and I'll never forget it. So something like that will work. You don't have to send anything in the mail. I will tell you, if you do, you will get a lot of kudos. I promise you that.
Yes.
Okay.
Our generation. I want to hear from everybody on this because Nairi,
Yes.
I agree with you. Did you keep the thank you notes in like your briefcase when you went on interviews and then immediately when you left?
Oh my gosh. I had the stamp on the envelope. So when I left the building, I would put this is serious, guys.
I did it too.
And I agree with you, Nairi. I tell everybody, if our generation is interviewing you, you better do this because we had to. Larry, speak up on this. Thank you notes, yay or nay?
Well, I will tell you, beyond the generational thing, I asked our talent recruitment team to know, do they still matter? Absolutely, unequivocally, they do. And I was heartened to hear that. And I would just say, follow up with a quick, make it personalized to the conversation. You should not be able to read the letter and have it been written in a generic way. So mention something in the conversation, talk about why you're even more excited for the role, and quickly, briefly summarize in maybe one sentence why you are the right candidate, or talk about the value that you'll bring to the role and out.
I think it's helpful, and I agree, and to listen. Now this is going to be your homework. So
Yeah.
listen for these opportunities that you'll be able to jot down, be like, oh, that'd be good for my thank you note. I'm going to write that down. So now you're in that sort of mode of like, hey, I'm doing this interview. But I mean, as a producer for years, I was always like, oh, what's that soundbite? Oh, there it is. That's the one I'm going to use. So you want to be able to think like that. Also, I will say, as a television producer for, close to 20 years, I can count on one hand the amount of thank you notes that I got as a producer.
Really? Wow.
Very
that's a good
few.
pitch
And
tip,
I
Paula.
remember all of them. I remember each person. And guess what? Those people came back again and again. I booked them. I mean, they were good guests and it was a great experience and all of that, but those people went the extra mile. Everyone else, it was transactional. It was like, great, thanks for having me on, when they left and they were out the door, and that was it. So it is important, and people will remember it for sure.
I will say that is huge, Paula. When working on this side and
Yep.
working with producers like you, I remember sending a producer a bottle of their favorite wine. We had it was just a terrible situation. She was tremendous to me, and she was having a bad day. We ended up having a conversation. I found out I don't know how we started talking about wine because we both like wine. I sent her a bottle of wine. When I tell you that she was the gift that kept on giving,
I'm sure.
the amount of opportunity. So this is a PR piece, guys. Just make a side note. I know this is not the topic, but that is huge. Assignment desk editors, producers, they will be the gift that keeps on giving. I'm so glad you said that, Paula.
Totally.
Great
We're
point.
people too. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. All right, Alyssa, great question. I'm going to send you
Thank
back
you
out.
guys so
Thank
much.
you.
That was really helpful.
So speaking of thank you notes, I had to bring Madison on because she's interning with Pitch right now because she was one of the few people I can count on one hand that has sent me a thank you note after the interview. Yay, Madison. But I know you have a question for Larry.
Yes, my name is Madison. I'm a senior. Like Amy said, I am interning with Pitch right now. And my question's for Larry. I was wondering, when you're evaluating a candidate's response, what signals or quality really stand out to you?
Well, I love that you use the word signals, just because words matter, and these are first impressions. And I guess there's so many ways I can answer that question, but I do want to pick up on the importance of listening and asking questions because I think that's an often overlooked part of it. We come into interviews where you think it's about you, but our talent team will tell you, like, talk with someone, not at them. And if you can of course, come into the interview with some thoughtful questions, but actively listen to the interviewer's questions. And so if you are following up with genuine curiosity and not being performative about it, I think that will go so far. So listen, have some thoughtful questions, and as we've talked about, be a human. I mean,
Yeah.
people want to have a conversation. You ask canned questions, you're going to get canned answers.
Thank you. That's really insightful. I'll make sure to keep that in mind.
Thank you, Madison. I'm going to send you back. We have Maya on with us. And Maya, I know you have a question for Paula. I can't wait to get an answer to your question because this always freaks me out.
Yes, hi everybody. My name is Maya Barnhart. I'm a recent graduate from Howard University, and I'm also working with Amy this semester. So I'm super excited to have you guys on. So my question for Paula is, how do you handle a major technical glitch or handle a tough question, and not seem super flustered on camera?
Breathe. That is it. Take a breath. And also, a lot of this is improv. So practicing, being able to answer questions that maybe you didn't think you were going to be asked, having that list of questions that maybe you don't want to answer, and then answer them anyway in your practice so that how am I going to handle this? If they ask me, why did you only spend a month at that last place? And the truth was that you hated that place. But how can you spin it in a way that would be, a better way to talk about it? As far as glitches go, it's going to happen, right? I mean, I've been in interviews, even in television, lights have blown out, blenders haven't worked, all sorts of things. And you're human, right? Everybody sees it. Everyone knows what's happening. So to acknowledge that that's happening, it seems to be there's a glitch, or I'm sorry, my light went out. Can you just give me 1 second? And just be kind of in that moment take a breath, go off camera if you have to, fix the problem, come back, thank them, and then move on. You know, you don't want to spend too much time on it. You don't want that to be the talking point. Although I will say, if there was something that happened like that and you want to mention that in your thank you note, why not? You know, hey, thanks for being so patient with me when I had that glitch. Really appreciate it. I'm glad we got to have our conversation. Something like that. But it is really just going with the flow, and not letting it derail you. Going through it is what really has to happen, right? And doing it as it goes.
And I love this question, Maya. Can you stay on? I'd love to hear from Nairi and Larry on it too, because I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience, but if like the Wi-Fi, gets a little strange and you can't even hear what the question is, like how do you handle these things?
I'll just say we are all human, and we know technology is not perfect, and especially in this moment that we're in life, in this world, it's about giving grace. And quite frankly, if your interviewer, if you've done everything to prepare and your dog runs through and knocks down your soda or hits the thing, they may be a dog owner and you may laugh about it or maybe not. But my point is, people will give you the grace because this is not a perfect, technology is not perfect. And a simple, please excuse me while I fix this. Can you please hold? Is it okay if I step away to address this? Just something very simple. Because again, we're human, and we have to give each other the grace of that. The shit happens, guys.
That's real.
It happens, and then you make shit happen, right, Nairi?
Right, exactly.
Larry, you have any advice on I don't know, maybe mom's walking behind you all of a sudden and it's so embarrassing. Like what happens? What do you
Well,
do?
I would say two things. One, echoing what's been said, it's how you handle it, right? Stuff's going to happen. And remember, it's just an opportunity to show if you can handle it with grace and try and remain calm and not freak out. And then one minor point, and I would love to know what Paula, you might say about this because you're more technically savvy than me. I tell people, whether it's the dog or the other background noise, just press on. I cannot tell you how many times people have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my dog is barking." I can't hear it. They can't. So I would just say carry on. If it's really distracting, someone on the other end will say something, but I would just not get flustered by it. Make your point, and I think in most cases people are gonna go, "Wow, look how impressive!" Like they're just undaunted, not bothered by a distraction. So I don't know what Paula, what do you see
Yeah.
that?
I think, not calling attention to it if it's not that big a deal, because otherwise you
Right.
get derailed, you're not sure what you were talking about, then that becomes the talking point. We don't want that, right? So to really, give it a second, and if it is becoming too noticeable, then maybe you just mention it and move on and keep going.
Right.
But I will also say, and we're talking about practicing and doing a dress rehearsal, literally have a checklist. What are all the things that you have to do to make sure before you do this interview, right? Is your Wi-Fi working? Are you hardwired? Is the lighting working? Did you check the microphone? Like this is a TV production, okay? You have to make sure that all of your stuff is working before you show up, and then have a plan B. So do you have the person's, phone number, or to say, like, let's say your whole thing goes down, and to be able to write them and say, hey, you know what? I'm so sorry it's not working. Could we finish this over the phone? Here's my phone number. Would that be okay? Just to kind of save it, to have it in the back of your mind. What if the whole thing goes down? What am I going to say? So just to have that plan B in your mind as well.
I really like all these answers too, because as you all were talking, I was also thinking, like a common interview question is like, how do you handle a crisis, or how do you handle?
Right.
So if it like actually happens, you can like show how you would handle it and just say, this is how I would handle it if this was happening with a client right now, and just use it, right?
I love that. Thank you guys so much. This is so helpful.
Thank you, Maya. I'm going to send you back. We already have Leah queued up. Leah, I know you had a question for Larry because Leah is ready for the big job, right?
Yes, I I am a junior at Penn State and I'm currently interning at Pitch Publicity with Amy. And I just wanted to say I loved your previous advice because my parents are always walking through the background when I'm on a meeting, despite my warning them, texting them saying, "Hey, I'm going to be on a meeting at this time,
Right?
please." But my question for you is from a leadership development perspective, what signals in a virtual interview tell you whether someone has long-term leadership potential, not just short-term role fit?
Mm, good question. Well, first, I totally get it, Leah, and it's great that you're working for Amy. And look at Penn State representing today.
No.
My goodness. Uh, I would say this. That's a really thoughtful question. Again, it comes down to signals and first impressions, because I would certainly not draw conclusions about someone's leadership potential based on one Zoom interview. But I would look at the language that they use. I believe the words we use matter. How do they talk about others? How do they talk about their current or prior employer? How do they talk about prior team accomplishments? I realize it's an interview, and so you're tempted to talk about me, but I'm a much more of a we over me person. And, are we being inclusive? And then just the other things that I try and suss out is, do you have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset? Do you embrace learning? And then the other things that I think we all feel are common leadership traits: authenticity, agility. And it's a interesting balancing act, but humility, yet using the opportunity to tell your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That was incredible advice. I'm gonna jot all that down.
You're
All
welcome.
right, thank you, Leah. All right, we are going to bring Andrea up next, and Andrea's question is going to be for Paula. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, my name's Andrea. I'm a sophomore at Penn State, and I am also an intern. I just started with Amy at Pitch Publicity. And my question is for Paula. My question is, how are you, like with your experience as a TV producer, how do you build a personal connection virtually with the other person?
Eye contact. And I know it seems difficult in this type of environment, but it's really not. Looking at the camera and not at yourself when you're giving an answer. Because the person who is on the other side then feels that connection, that eye contact with you. You can look down if you want to when they're speaking to be able to, look at their face and see what it is that they're articulating back to you. And to also get cues to see, are they smiling? Are they into this? Is this boring? You want to be able to tell, is this going the way I think it's going? So you do want to like look down every once in a while to see, but truly looking into that camera and being able to make that eye contact, it doesn't feel natural because, not everybody is used to talking into a camera. But the more that you do it, the easier that it will become. And people get into bad habits of looking only down at the screen the whole time. And then guess what? I'm looking down at the screen right now. I'm looking at your face and it
Right.
doesn't look like I'm looking at you. And so that connection is lost. If you're able to do that, and you'll see it in videos all the time. I'm constantly telling people, look into the camera, please. If you're watching television, you're watching somebody, an anchor, a reporter, they are not looking down. They're looking directly into the camera because they're talking to you. You want that message to come across. So I think that's one of the most important things that people miss when they're doing these virtual interviews is that they're looking down or they're looking at their notes. You really want to engage with the camera, and it takes practice. And as you're doing this, if you are practicing on your own, just visualize me, visualize anybody, visualize Amy doing the interview or talking to you so that you feel a little bit more comfortable. But know that there's somebody else on the other end, and that eye contact really matters.
I like that, Paula, because I was just thinking too, I've had so many people tell me that the new interview format is that they just answer a question like there's nobody there. It feels like there's no
Oh,
connection.
huh.
Larry or Nairi, I don't know if your big companies do interviews
No,
like
we're
that
not
or
doing that.
screening interviews, but do you
No.
have suggestions for these college students that get on those timed interviews? Do you know what I'm talking about? With like a question pops and you got to like answer real fast. How do you connect?
I'm not familiar with that, and quite
Oh,
frankly, if
Yeah.
a communications or PR agency is using that, I don't even want to work with them. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to work with a communications entity that's how they're communicating with you
oh,
in
so
an
maybe
interview.
that's a red flag. Actually,
Exactly.
Nairi, hold that thought because I brought Allie back because, all right, Andrea, I'm going to send you back, but I brought Allie back because we don't have a lot of time, but she had a question for you about this. And I actually get this question all the time, and I think you are the perfect person to answer this. Allie, can you ask Nairi your question?
Yeah, my question for you is how can candidates effectively assess company culture in a virtual format?
Mm.
You can't, and I'll tell you why. And this is again my humble opinion. Um, Most of what you will need to know or want to know about that company, you're not going to attain in that interview. They're going to show up just like you show up. They are putting their best face on because they want you to be a part of that organization. The onus is on you, again, in my opinion, to do your research. Go on Glassdoor, go on Indeed, look on LinkedIn. Any of your contacts have somebody who works there. The best person to ask about a company is somebody who works there. Um, find out if any of your friends have interned there before. Like you have to do your own research because I have been bamboozled and hoodwinked, and I have watched bamboozling and hoodwinking where it's a bait and switch. You think you're getting something and you're really not. And I learned this probably mid-career to ask very pointed questions outside of that interview and to do my own research to understand what the masses are saying. And I'm not saying it should be your final decision-making point, but you should absolutely take that into consideration when you're deciding to go with the company.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Great advice. All right. We're going to send you back, Allie. And we just have a few more minutes, and I have one final question for our panelists as we begin to close. Again, we want kind of a rapid fire round here. But as we close our session and as we are closing, we are going to put a survey link in the chat. We would love to get your feedback on this session today. But my closing question is, what's the most important point a candidate must communicate before a virtual interview ends? Larry, we will start with you.
Oh gosh, most important point. Well, hopefully the conversation has gone well enough that you're able to neatly summarize. I guess so much it depends on context, but I would say at the end of the day, you want to, one, genuinely express your appreciation for their time and opportunity. And then secondly, quickly summarize why you think you're a distinctive candidate.
Great. Paula, what's the most important point a candidate must communicate before a virtual interview ends?
Enthusiasm. Because that will make you stand out. Otherwise, it's like, hey, I just talked to 5 people that kind of were the same. I mean, their credentials are the same, all of this, all that. But that one smiled and she looked into the camera and she seemed genuinely excited and, really into it. She gave good ideas. That enthusiasm will take you pretty far.
All right, Nairi, bring us home. What's the most important
I
point?
agree wholeheartedly with both of you. I will add and more on to Larry. In addition to thanking them for their time and being appreciative of their time, broaden it to appreciate even if you don't get the job. Add in some
Mhm.
language, regardless of how this turns out. I'm so thankful I had the opportunity to meet you. I will remember this conversation beyond, this interview. So thank you. So something that makes them feel that they have been impactful in your journey and not just for this role.
Well, thank you, all of our panelists, for joining us today. Please fill out the survey from today's session. We're going to put it in the chat for you. And stay connected with us for our next Mentor Skillshare session. It will be happening in the fall. We'll take a little break here. So be sure to follow us on social media for more updates. And I'm just going to leave you with a big announcement. My book Lift releases in February. We're going to throw it in the chat. And Amazon, being Amazon, decided to just put it up on their site last Friday. So you all that are here can get it in advance before it's officially launched. So go check it out. It's all about leading with a mentorship approach, which is what we're all about here at INICIVOX. And again, I want to thank Nairi, Larry, and Paula for joining us and giving us some of your valuable time today. And get comfortable on that Zoom. Start practicing like Paula, Nairi, and Larry says, and don't be worried about mom walking in the background. Just use it as part of your pitch. All right, thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.